I was born in the Rhymney Valley, from Derry, which is a coal mining village. There's the top mile and the bottom mine, and everybody just worked in these two collieries there. I realised that when I was doing art, I didn't have to speak. And that for me was absolutely fabulous because, you know, I could just live without having to talk and do what other people wanted. So I just kept on drawing and drawing and drawing. And then I left Bargood Grammar School. I looked for a job. I went to a local engineering firm in Rhymney. So I spent about 3 months there, and I was redundant. And then for the next 3 jobs I had, I was made redundant, which is great because I made some money, and I could then afford to do what I wanted to do. So in 1956, I went to Paris. I lived in Paris, which at that time was amazing. And I went to more and more museums and art galleries, and life in Paris was wonderful. And so then I came back to Wales. I wanted a job again, and I was offered a job in this army camp in Pembrokeshire. I put on a very small exhibition in Tenby Harbour, and this professor from York University and his family came down on holidays. They saw my paintings in Tenby. They bought everything that I had on show there, and then they mentioned that there was a fellowship at York University, and so they asked me to apply for it, which I did, and I won this award, which meant that I'd spend a year at York University, which is about my work, and it was one of the most exciting times of my life. I came back to Wales. Well, I've never left Wales really. Everything in Wales is so interesting, and I realised that what my canvas is Wales, what I really want to do. That's all I understand is my Welshness. I love Wales, and I love the valleys. I'm still in the valleys. And so I've been living way up in the mountains here, way up in the Swansea Valley, in Cwm Llynfell. And it's wonderful. The colour on the mountains is amazing, and the folk tales and Llynfan Fach, where the story of the Lady of the Lake is not very far away. And I just paint. I spent 15 hours a day painting. Now it may have gone down to about 12 in the last couple of years, but I still have the same energy, the same belief in what I'm doing, you know. And all of this work is about Wales. And recently I've seen the most amazing Welsh quilts from 1801, 1810, a quilt from Swansea, a quilt from Llanelli. And I'm very, very inspired by the structure on these quilts. And my paintings have this structure which I want, you know. And they're getting bigger and wilder, and I'm getting older and wilder, and it's wonderful to live like this. And so my life is great fun. I think my early paintings were more about storytelling, and Merthyr was about, I'd see all these old chapels being knocked down, and I wanted to record that. But these more recent paintings, and for the last, say 10 years, my work has been getting far more abstract. And it's not about storytelling, or It's not about the little cottage in the field. It's a wilder thing than that, a wider thing. It's still concerned with Wales and my Welshness. My work has a wider perspective, actually, than that. And it's not about picture making. It's now gone into a pure painting. It still relates to the quilts and the early Celtic manuscripts have a great influence on me, but they're getting bigger. These are about the colours of Wales, the influence on Wales, on me. I paint. I start painting a huge canvas, say 6 foot by 6 foot. I don't know where the hell I'm going. I don't want to be, it mustn't be anything about me being clever. That ruins the whole thing. I've got to discover what this painting wants to be. I allow it to go. It takes me with it. And something happens. I think, where the hell did that come from? And this is what I want. And I think, where the hell did that come from? This is what I want to do in my work. And this is what I'm doing now. I'm doing exactly this. And if it's not, and this is what I want it to be. Loved. I start making these rhythms and movements, which is Celtic art. Celtic art is full of rhythms and movement. I think when I was young, I virtually slept in quilts. My grandmother made quilts. And I remember sleeping in this wonderful quilt. But I've never looked at them the way I'm looking at quilts now and realising how important to Wales quilts have been. I think some of the quilts that I painted before have been more, I've been searching out forms and structures and things like this. And this is another crazy quilt. I think at one time the quilt makers wanted to push and make them far more abstract. And the quilt that I've now found has this wonderful free flow shape, and that has inspired me to do more work like this and make it far more free flowing, and Celtic art is like this. I do want them to have a sort of rawness about them, because I have this rawness, and the valley where I live has this wonderful rawness about it. And it has this age, and you can see what they did and wanted to do. And I love this movement that they put into these quilts, and especially the swansea quilt. I've seen quilts in America, which is not half as good. The Amish think that they have quilts, but that must have come out of a Welsh quilt that we took over to America in the 18th century, because I've never seen anything like Welsh quilts, and it relates to the early Celtic manuscripts that we have in Wales. And so I see this, I see the same ideas in both of our manuscripts and our quilts.